Hello, my dear friends. My name is Catherine Varadi. I'm an artist who lives in Hungary, in Budapest, and I came into art from business. So, today I would like to talk about soft pastel, which is one of my favorite art materials. And I'll tell you about the history of pastel and about some myths that are connected to pastels. Soft pastel was invented in the very end of 15th century. So it's not a new material. It's not a modern one. It's really existing since since the very first year of 16th century. So it was invented and shown to a king and a queen in 1499. So it's a really old material which has proved a lot, but normally people don't know too much about soft pastel. So what happened after the soft pastel was invented? Quite quickly, artists realize that the possibilities that soft pastel gives to an artist are really very big. And for example, Leonardo da Vinci also used soft pastel because so what is soft pastel? It's some people say, oh, it's like a chalk. Yes, to some extent, it's like a chalk. You can see that I just touched soft pastel here with my fingers and they are already dusty. So it looks like a chalk, but there is a great difference between school chalk and pastel, because in professional pastel you find natural pigments of a very good quality and a big quantity. So actually, pastel is clear pigment with some chalk. For white or light shades of pastel, of course, there is more chalk there, like here, for example. And in dark ones, you don't see too much chalk because the pigment has to be dark. And what makes the whole color pigment keep together is gum arabic, which is not the majority of the whole pastel. So in some brands of soft pastel, you feel that this medium is so light that you have to be very careful when using the soft pastel. But thanks to the fact that this is almost clear pigment, it shines. It actually shines. It gets the light rays into it and gives it back. So pastel artworks, they have very special tenderness and very special glow. It's, for example, for me as an artist, it's very difficult to make a photo of a pastel artwork because it's not like in oil when you just have to position the light so that it doesn't blink. In pastel, the colors themselves are giving you back the light. So that's why when you paint, you see the artwork one way, and when you get the photo, you see that the colors are shining, and it's very difficult to make a realistic photo of a pastel artwork. And since actually 16th century, pastel became very popular among great artists, and it was used for different genres, especially for a portrait, because for a portrait you need this tenderness of a pastel when you work. It's very beautiful shades of pastel, which is fantastic for making a pastel portrait. And actually since that, and especially in the end of 19th century, pastel became very, very popular, and we know a lot of factories that make pastels. Mainly they are in France, in the UK, in the US, and we also have pastels in South Korea and in China, in Russia also, and also we have in Hungary we have a factory that makes pastel, but to tell the truth, I don't work with it because they don't have enough colors. I have a few colors maybe from the Hungarian pastel, but mainly I work with the UK and French brands of soft pastel. So what is the main myths around the pastel? That people think that it's like a chalk, so it's so subtle, it's very hard to keep in order. I mean, you can't just get a duster and just clean your pastel artwork. So people think that paintings made by pastel are not durable, and that is wrong, because in the museums we can find artworks that were created in the 15th century, and you don't have any problem with them. And at the same time, we know that a lot of oil artworks were destroyed by time. So you can see that, for example, the white color becomes darker. Black colors, they actually absorb different colors into the black. So that's why, for example, if you examine the artworks of old painters, you can see that they are much darker. And from year to year, they become even darker, because those whites, they get darker every year. And if you speak about soft pastel, and if it is kept properly, it doesn't get older. So, of course, here I am not in the position to show you the originals of 15th century, but I have a very interesting example here in our summer house. This summer house was bought by my parents approximately 26 years ago. And we bought this house together with furniture and some artworks, which the previous owners, who got elderly people, they didn't want to pack it out. They just left them to us. And of course, we have changed a lot of furniture, but we have left with us the artworks we received from them, we got from them. And so here is a pastel artwork. When I looked at this artwork for the first time, I had nothing to do with art, so I actually didn't know it's a pastel artwork. Now I understand it is, and it's very interesting because it was created, I can't understand exactly, but it's either 1911 or 1941. In both cases, we can say that this artwork is rather old, because it's more than 50 years old. It's 75 years old if it was painted in 1941, and it's more than 100 years old if it was painted in 1911. The house is old enough, so I can imagine that it was painted in 1911. And you can see that the whole, I mean, the frame is a little bit damaged. The artwork is covered by just a normal glass, so it's not anti-glare glass, it's just a normal glass. And we can see that the pigments on the artwork are in fantastic condition, so you don't see any trace of time or any hallmark of being destroyed. And we can see that it's some kind of cardboard, which the artist used for painting. It's rather yellow, so it's a really old one, but nothing happened to it. And of course, if we have a fire, it will be damaged. But of course, in this case, all artworks, including oil or any other artwork, exception for statues made of metal or of stone, they will be damaged, all of them. But if you cover a pastel artwork with a glass, it is in fantastically safe condition forever. And also at home or in Budapest, I have old pastel artworks, and also I have old oil artworks, and many of oil artworks are already dirty because, as you know, oil is not covered with glass, so they have dust on it, and after time dust gets absorbed, so you have to restore the artwork. You should clean it by special solution solvents to clean the dust, but you don't have to do it with pastel artwork. So if you are thinking, if you like an artwork which is pastel and have doubts concerning its durability, you can be really safe, because the pastel pigments are really, all of them are very high quality, and they are very well preserved, can be very well preserved by a simple glass. But if you want to have your artwork, your soft pastel artwork, really beautiful, you either buy an anti-glare glass, which actually helps you to see your artwork in all conditions. Even if you see the lamp, you switch on the electric light, and anti-glare glass makes the effect that you see the glass, but it's not, you don't see blicks and glares on light. But the best solution for soft artwork is so-called museum glass, which is completely invisible. So if you see an artwork with a museum glass, you always think that there is no glass at all. I can say that museum glass is rather expensive, but when you buy an expensive artwork, which is really beautiful, it's worth investing into it once, and it gives you fantastic impression. So in my case, when I take my artworks to an exhibition or to a gallery, I always order museum glass for my artworks, because of course I want them to be represented in the best way. So one more interesting thing, pastel is not so cheap at all, and I can say as a pastelist that pastel is even more expensive than oil, which is considered to be an expensive technique, because in case of oil you can paint really beautiful artworks having just, say, 7, 8, maybe 10 colors, and in case of pastel, the minimum number of colors you have to buy is 90 or maybe 120. And for example, different factories that make soft pastel, they have different number of colors. For example, Richardson, which is a Chinese handmade pastel, has the biggest in the world number of shades of pastel, more than 1,300. I suppose that Unison, which is, oh, I don't know exactly, I suppose it's British, but I'm not sure. Unison colors, they have approximately 400 colors. Sennelier, which is a French brand, has beautiful colors, and it has more than 600 colors. And for example, if we speak about Sennelier, then we have to talk about Edgar Degas, who is one of the most favorite soft pastel artists in the world. And this factory, the Sennelier brand, worked directly for Degas, and some colors were made for him directly, because he was so famous that he could order special colors from Sennelier. So those factories have really great past and great present, and I suppose they all will have a great future too, because there are a lot of beautiful artists who, and very talented artists who continue to work with soft pastel. And also very interesting thing, yeah, here for example, it's my artwork, which is made also by a soft pastel. I was testing different techniques, because in my case I once worked for on a canvas. I just made a pastel ground, special pastel ground on canvas, and after that painted, made a painting with a soft pastel, and it looks completely like a normal, say, painting on oil, and I made a copy of Edgar Degas' Blue Dancers in its original size, 70x70, and in the majority of cases, pastelists work with either paper or with special cardboard made especially for soft pastel. In many cases, this cardboard is not made of paper. It has special surfaces. Some of them bear water. We can make watercolor underpaint or acrylic underpaint, or maybe even a pastel underpaint, like in this case. It was made on a thick paper for oil and acrylic paint. I made a ground, and after that I made a colorful underground and watered it, and after that fixated it and then painted with soft pastel. So you have here the effect of multi-layers, different layers that are looking through each other and giving the artwork its special glow and special depth. So in my case, I have a lot of colors, because more colors you have, more beautiful and deep and rich your artwork will be. And one more interesting fact about pastel, that till the moment people can't say exactly whether it is graphics or it is painting. And in different exhibitions, pastel artworks are considered either drawing or painting. And there are also different points of view. For example, some of people say that if it is painted on paper, it's graphics. If it's painted on canvas or say cardboard, it's painting. Another point of view is that if you paint with black, or if you are using more black, then it's graphics. If you don't use black at all, it's painting. So as you can see, there are really very, very different thoughts about pastel. It's a very interesting material, and if you go to my website, which is catherinevarady.com, you can see a lot of pastel artworks, also for sale, but just if you want to wonder whether you can understand the pastel, or define whether it is painted by oil paint or pastel paint, you can just check yourself, because in some cases it's really very difficult to understand what was the material the artist painted. So in case of Degas or other painters, you sometimes really think it's oil, because it can be really very rich in color. I mean, soft pastel can be really very rich by color. And when you have a lot of colors by your hand, you can reach fantastic results. And yes, it's rather expensive, because one pastel color of this size is approximately 5-6 pounds, one stick, and you have to have at least 100. So it's really costly technique, but I think it's worth investing in soft pastel. So that is the information I wanted to share with you. I hope it was useful. If you have any questions or any comments or have any additional information, I will be happy to see your comments. And I'm also inviting you to my Instagram account, where I share my daily thoughts and daily artworks, and I'm also going to share a lot of materials here on the YouTube. So I wish you happy day today. Wish you all the best. Stay with me, subscribe, give me likes. Thank you for being with me. Goodbye.